Good afternoon, everyone. This is Greg Hanna from TOS Corporation, also known as TOS C3, your cloud conversion company, coming to you from the Cloud Academy, where today's topic and session is about different types of cloud computing. Today, we're going to cover a quick introductory to TOS, types of cloud computing, a true cloud versus a cheese cloud, and you'll have an opportunity to find the links for signing up for next week's session, as well as live demonstration this Friday or Thursday, whichever comes first, and time for question and answers with me. So let's get right to it. TOS C3, we were founded in 1985 and established our cloud in 2000 with the purchase of an AT&T data center. Today we have multiple data centers and roughly 3,300 to 3,500 clients in North America. We're delivering the cloud before the cloud was cool. And what does that mean? That means that cloud's popularity is really accelerating, and being that it's 2014, we got in 2000, guess what? We're pretty good at what we do. So we're going to talk about IT as a utility today, but we also deal with what's called mobile device management, and we have a kill switch technology where it uses geotechnology for device tracking of laptops, iPads, iPhones, Androids, pretty much any mobile device, giving you the ability for full asset management and control, live inventory. You know where the device is, who has it, when they were last reporting in, the ability for you to lock and remotely wipe that device, et cetera. IT as a utility, that's pretty much an exciting and our most popular cloud solution. We're going to be talking a lot about that today. Pretty much that's what this course 101 is all about. So with that being said, let's just take a look at what the cloud is. A cloud basically is a giant data center hall and multiple halls like this, where very expensive enterprise-class equipment resides. And this is a true cloud. We'll talk about cheese cloud later. And you are not responsible for the purchase or maintenance of this infrastructure or hardware or software, but you just get to enjoy the benefits of it. So the cloud technology industry, what we're looking at is a growth rate of, from 2010 to 2015, not quite exponential, but pretty close to that. In fact, the numbers are much higher today in 2014 than are as depicted as this estimate from Gartner was back in 2010. What are people saying about cloud computing? This is a survey from Accenture. 9% at the time felt it was a fad. 13% said that it would transform business. 32% believed it would be cheaper substitute than on-premise equipment, and it actually is, and we can prove that to you. One session coming up in the next few weeks is ROI. We'll dive pretty deeply into cost of on-prem IT versus cloud-based solutions. And 46% believed it would enable their organization to do business more rapidly, which is one of the big benefits for cloud computing, is a real differentiator between your ability to react to your marketplace above and beyond your competitions. As people move to the cloud, many of our customers just put their entire system in the cloud, but if you wanted to just get your foot wet, try to put the toe in the water first. Email is usually where people start. Over 50% start with that. And then as we go up the tree here, we have file storage, office software, ending with video conferencing being the last thing that people look to do for cloud computing. So growth rates, let's talk about that. Hopefully you're not in the IT business yourself as a IT professional in a company. And the reason I'm saying that is if you look at these growth rates, automation that the cloud provides it is basically making that sector grow the slowest of everything that we're going to look at. So servers growth worldwide 10 times over the next 10 years. Probably 20 times at this point. Number of bytes being managed in the data center growing at 50 times year over year for next 10 years, and 1.5x growth in IT. That's not too tremendous. So Just wanted to keep that in mind. If you are an IT professional, it might be an opportunity for you to figure out how to do more than just manage the day-to-day operations, make yourself more valuable to your company. So let's get right into the different types of cloud. We're going to explain that right now. The first one we're going to talk about are pure cloud. So a pure cloud is, as the slide says, where you put your applications, your data, your network, your entire IT infrastructure that you have in your office or offices or data center or data centers today offsite into a cloud environment. So this gets you out of the IT business and helps in many ways. Firstly, you no longer have to have a big spend, write big fact checks for IT. So the CFO will like that, who likes to write those checks. Secondly, you don't have to upgrade and maintain the software and the day-to-day maintenance. So in your office, basically, you'll have wires, wireless, printers, endpoints, internet service, and firewalls, and then just log in and enjoy doing your business. A hybrid cloud. Okay, so hybrid is when either for regulatory reasons or practical reasons or just nervousness, a customer would keep some of their information local and some in a cloud, creating what we call a hybrid cloud because it's a little of both. It's a little on-prem and it's a little bit outsourced in the cloud. A point solution. This is an opportunity for you to take a single application or single job function or business process and cloud enable that one process or processes, and making that more flexible and more manageable, giving you the benefits of cloud computing. Microsoft Exchange is an example of this. A single accounting application is an example of this. If you're an ISV, having TOS put your application in the cloud so that others could get at it, the others that do get at it as an individual application, they were using a point solution, if you will, and that's an example, a really good example of what a point solution might be. Public cloud versus private cloud. Public clouds, so these are shared infrastructures. These are giant data centers like the ones that TOS owns, and you have the ability to take on that economy of scale and get the benefit of millions of dollars worth of hardware and software and know-how and environments along with a self-service portal versus a private cloud, which is a custom-built infrastructure. Almost 90% of the time it's within a company's own organization, or it's part of what we'll call a cheese cloud in the sense that it's mimicking a public cloud, but it's a very, very, very cut-down version of what a true public cloud could give to you. So let's talk true cloud versus cheese cloud. So true cloud providers on the left, cheese on the right. And let's take a look at the first line item here. So a true cloud provider hosts their own environment and are in complete control of the cloud versus a cheese cloud provider who does not host their own cloud solutions. And if they do, it's usually from their office, which is not a data center environment. So lack of redundancy, security, et cetera, usually a closet somewhere or empty office where that type of equipment would be. So the advantages of a true cloud provider here is, multi-million-dollar data centers built for this purpose to deliver data and give high availability and uptime. The next area to look at is the use of enterprise-class hardware, software, and provisioning. So what this means is a true cloud provider that's delivering what we're going to call pure cloud or delivering full IT as a utility is going to have multi-million-dollar high-end enterprise-class hardware, software, and a provisioning portal. These are equivalent to the types of equipment that you would see in, say, a Fortune 10 or a Fortune 100 size company. Millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of very fast equipment that you're going to be paying, probably pennies on a dollar per user per month. So getting the benefit of this, which really is going to make a huge impact on the availability of data and services and speed to market for your organization. On the cheese cloud provider side, they usually use what we call slow cheap class hardware. So this is usually, desktop level drives, non-redundant systems, very direct attached storage, no SANs really, and the hardware is lower class, a lot of times out of date. The software is usually free or out-of-date software, and most of the time they lack a provisioning portal. Now, the benefits of having a provisioning portal that you would get with the true cloud provider is that it enables two things. First, self-service, so your administrative staff can do very advanced IT functions such as onboarding an employee, adding software in seconds, that type of thing. Without having that type of access, then you're kind of at the whim of either maintaining an internal IT staff or at the provider. The other second benefit of a provisioning portal is the reporting along with elasticity. So by elasticity, I'm talking about, as I mentioned, cloud providers charge per month per user. If you have 100 users today, you add 10 users for 3 months, you're elastic up, if you will, for another 10 users for 3 months. You pay for those. You use the provisioning portal to disable or deprovision those 10 users. In 3 months, you go back down to the 100. So again, it gives you the ability to log in seamlessly through a web browser, add users, change users, et cetera. So it's a real benefit of cloud computing. True cloud provider, consistent solutions delivered via the same cloud. And the cheese cloud, they rent other providers. They rent space from data center companies that don't specialize in cloud computing. They specialize in co-location and data centers. So they're beautiful environments, but that leaves the quality of the cloud up to the individual IT integrator, who usually is a local area network person or a small company organization that wanted to get into cloud computing because they understand if they don't, then they'll be obsolete in short order. So they buy a handful of servers that are usually underpowered. They get some free software or use some old versions that Microsoft doesn't support any longer. If they're doing that route, then they're throwing up, some RDP, some very slow remote access type solutions. And, TOS is a company, we've seen a number of environments like this where customers have become frustrated, they've been overpaying, they're disappointed, they don't believe in cloud, and we're evangelists out there showing them what a true cloud is and what a pure cloud solution is, and they just can't believe the difference between what they're paying for and what they can get from TOS for a lower rate and the incredible enterprise class performance. True cloud provider is going to give you continuous and instantaneous access to all upgrades. And on the cheese side, you have a little bit of a lack of control of your data. Many cases, they insist that they own the data in the contract. If you take a look at that, so you want to be very careful. If you're into a cloud provider now and dissatisfied with the performance, would welcome an opportunity to maybe do some quick consulting with you and see how you can either improve that experience or perhaps move to a better provider. Customization that actually works. And as we've listed here, the old school application service provider model that, we began as a company, back in 1999, 2000, when we built cloud solutions, and that's how old that technology is. So the takeaway from this slide is that true cloud is a better option for almost any company. So here are the main reasons why you want to make sure that the selection that you do for your homework in cloud providers is a pure true cloud provider as opposed to a lower class cheese type cloud. First off, they're usually more expensive. You don't know that off the top because it's difficult to discern and shift through all of the lists and items that they put onto their systems. They're less efficient. They're not scalable. Have no control of your downtime, so that's difficult for you to deal with. You know, in a cloud solution, you want to make sure that you're up at least 5.9, so 99.9999% on the infrastructure, and you know the industry standard for software and applications set by Google, Microsoft, and others is 3.9, so that's 99.9% on your applications and such. So that's pretty tremendous, and you would be happy if you could get that. I'm sure many of you are not getting that today on site. So the customers that we've seen have been disappointed with security, the longevity of the companies, painful and untimely upgrades, continuous hands-on into their IT environment on the local, on the in-house side, because of the lack of connectivity and robustness on the back end. They run into lots of issues and downtime outside of just having problems with the data center. They just have downtime, incompatibilities, and older hardware and software. Good reasons to go with TrueCloud. They're built for uptime. Cloud control panels, amazing, so that you can do your elasticity and management. Much more value for your money. You know, you're working on millions and millions of dollars worth of enterprise class hardware and software. Upgrades are easy. Integration of your applications is seamless. Even talking about a TrueCloud, it's much easier and you know, much more accurate, you know, to be discussing this type of environment because you actually will have the control of your data, and the latest versions of the software and security are always there for you. So again, the takeaway from this one is professionals doing what they specialize in doing, and so that's what you're going to get from a TrueCloud provider. So summarizing Cheese Cloud versus TrueCloud, here are the great takeaways that we've gotten from actual customers. You know, they get confused with vague terminology. They use the terms hosted offerings and hosted solutions because they are hosted. And hosting, if you will, is a very old methodology and not really a TrueCloud type environment. Cloud deployments, you know, can take months, being dragged out because of issues and incompatibilities with software and hardware, especially if you use, you know, Linux or Macintosh or Apple iPhones and iPads. If you're using old and outdated technology, the experience is just not going to be reliable or sufficient to sustain reliability and fast performance for a business environment. Minimal service value for maximum price. That seems to be a common tone that we're hearing throughout those people who are not with a TrueCloud provider. TrueCloud providers are well-funded and secure businesses, been in business for a while, and are experts in this industry, not just dabbling or getting started because it's the hot new trend in IT. Scale, you know, because they plan out their business and are able to stay on that 3-year rotation of hardware to make sure the things are always up to date and expand as required well in advance of requirement. So good things to look for when you're looking for a TrueCloud provider are growing companies, long-lasting, who've been established for quite a bit. So the takeaway here is learn what to look for in a cloud provider next week, which is going to be our next session. Register for the live demo that's going to be coming up on this Thursday. It happens to be the day before Friday, so that does work out for me. And we're going to actually demonstrate IT as utility. You'll actually get to see how the cloud functions and feels from a wireless connection right to a Verizon Fios line. And we're going to run at full speed Windows 7 desktops, SQL applications, Office 2013, Outlook with 30 gig mailboxes, et cetera, et cetera. And you'll get to see what the versatility will give you in a TrueCloud environment. You can sign up and register for that at the URL below, TOS.com/cloud-computing-101-the demonstration. You can additionally download our free cloud report, which will give you 29 pages of details and information in depth beyond this initial session. The session is a culmination of the cloud reports broken out from details within that, which you can get at isthecloudforus.com. That's isthecloudforus.com. If you want to register for next week's class on Tuesday at 2, I'll send you this email right here for joining today. It's what to look for when hiring a cloud integrator, and we'll take questions and answers. In fact, I'll ask the questions, you give me the answers. We'll switch things up today. But no, let's get right to it. Are there any questions out there that I could be helpful with?
Yes, hey, Greg, this is Tom. Thank you for that overview. It was very helpful understanding the differences in the cloud providers. One question I have that I think you might have got the answer for me. Our mail goes down about once a week. We're down for 2 hours, and we check with our provider. They tell us that it's not their fault that someone else's servers are down. Is that because they're a cheese cloud?
Well, great. I love that you adopted our silly terminology so quickly. Well, if they're saying that it's not their fault because the servers that are hosting your email on, that kind of perks the German Shepherd's ears up right away. That makes me think that they're a middleman, if you will, for an outside provider, whether that be a monster like a Microsoft or Google, or a lower end solution that might be hosting of their own, like in Rackspace, or even at a friend's garage. So I would say yes, Tom. That definitely sounds like that.
We shouldn't accept our mail going down for a couple hours every week. We should be able to get better than that, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a couple hours a week, that isn't even close to being, 99.9% guarantee. If you do the math, geez, it's got to be in the 70 or 80% if.
Right.
But would love to talk to you about that. Anything that we could do to help give you enterprise uptime. For your email. Email is a critical production application for, I would say, 99% of all businesses today. It might even be 100%. We would think that it would be the accounting system or whatever, but when we do surveys and we ask what are your top 5 critical production apps, email #1 always.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Looks like we need to make some changes. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Yes, I have a question.
Greg, I had a question about control of our data. It says on the Cheese Cloud that there's a lack of control. So if they don't have control of our data, who does?
Well, that's a really great question. So in the Cheese Cloud, remember, it's either one of 2 scenarios. Either they're hosting it in a co-location facility, so the facility that is housing their servers has ultimate control. If they close their doors or sell, what's the provision for your cloud providers getting their equipment back and out and getting it to you. So that's the first thing. The second thing is if they're hosting it on their own, what's the guarantee of, they're not going to be have theft issues? Are they backing it up and they taking it off site? If they are, is it compressed and encrypted? All these different items. So I would say that, the universe kind of has control of your data at this point.
Oh, great.
So a follow-up question to that. So if I do choose to go to a cloud provider, I hear a lot of discussions around risk of where my data is. Have you thought through that process as far as your business, in that if a customer did want a copy of my data or get it back to me, how would I go about doing that with you? Is there a process around that?
Sure. So are you saying that if you decide that, you don't want to be in the cloud anymore, or if we get sold or something like that?
Always considering the exit strategy. If you thought through an exit strategy, if a customer chose to move away from it, yes.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So, yeah, we actually have a process and procedure in place, for decoupling clients' data from our solution, our cloud, and getting it back to them. So the scenario is like this. We get notification in email or preferably in writing through U.S. mail. We then verify that information, to make sure it's accurate. At that point, we do calculations to determine the size of device necessary. Can it fit on a USB drive, or does it have to go on a small storage area network appliance? We then work with the customer for convenient downtime windows so that we can move that data off without disruption and make sure that any changes that are being made in production will not be lost by us removing the data from our facility to get it to them. We then move it or copy it, or however you want to use your terminology that makes sense. We get the binary, the zeros and the ones, from the cloud onto the device, which is appropriately sized, and then we either deliver it to the customer if they're within our metro, or we overnight it to them on their FedEx account to make sure that they have it. At that point, if they have any questions or need some assistance on getting the data from the device that we sell, we're always available to help them with that.
Great, thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, Greg. I had a quick question. We're thinking about doing a hybrid system because we have to host some of our applications locally. Can our files and apps interact between the cloud and locally easily, or how's the integration go for that?
Sure. So that's a great question. There's a yes and a maybe for your answers. Yes, it's real easy depending upon what your solution is. Have you thought through? Are you going to be using like Amazon, AWS for the storage side, or what's the exact scenario, do you think, between what you're going to have on site and who the provider might be?
Yeah, I think we're going to kind of focus on an AWS kind of system and then host our business critical stuff locally. Okay.
All right. So great. So AWS has an open, what they call application programming interface, an API that allows coupling, if you will, of many application or cloud type devices to be integrated into the solution. So what that means is that you can write data locally, and then that would get replicated up to AWS and reside on the cloud, giving you, a hybrid scenario. Some complex apps have also been written to do what's called elasticing, which means that if you're doing some shared workloads and you have a number of processors or virtual machines in-house that are cranking and getting really busy, when they meet a threshold, they would then elastic out to Amazon and use their EC2 product to use the processors on there, and you'll actually have processing happening offsite in the cloud. And then when things quiet down and the threshold gets below whatever your cutoff point is, internally it brings those processes back. So there's storage and compute that can be stretched into those fashions, as you mentioned about hybrid.
All right, great. Thank you.
Sure.
I had a question about upgrades.
Okay.
So it says easy upgrades. What if we don't want to upgrade? What if, a lot of our people like, say, Windows 7? Is that okay?
That's perfect. So here's how it works. Some providers will do what they call a forced mandatory upgrade. And that means when Microsoft releases the latest version of Windows, once they hopefully, GA it and test it in their environment and make it available to their cloud, they automatically and systematically go through and upgrade everyone. So, you come in on one Monday morning and all of a sudden you're running something that looks totally unfamiliar to you. So first off, there's a productivity issue doing that. Secondly, many applications, especially legacy applications, require certain versions of Microsoft Office or a Windows operating system. So you can actually be crippled if you're falling into that category where you have a custom or critical line of business application that is required to run the current version of either Windows or Office that you're on, and then you get automatically switched. So at TOS, what we do is we make sure that the customer realizes that they have access to whatever version of the Microsoft Office and operating system platforms that are available, but they are not required to use them. And in fact, you know, once we have GA'd products, we make a notification to the customer, and then it's up to them to instruct us if they would like us to upgrade and migrate them to the latest environment.
Okay, I have a follow-up for that. So we have an old CRM system that works exclusively with XP. Who would I talk to about making sure nothing blows up in the coming months?
Sure, that's a great question. So you can speak with our engineering staff. You know, as part of our discovery process, you know, we would determine, you know, what you have, what you need, and how we could make that workable for you. Additionally, in terms of XP, we have enterprise class systems that are, you know, beyond XP. You know, let's call them Windows 7 or Windows 8 for servers, if you will. And those have some XP compatibility modes that they can run in. However, since they are modern operating systems, they still are patched on a weekly basis and are not vulnerable to the security issues that XP will be, you know, come April 9th.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Well, great. Well, I would like to thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon, learning about different types of cloud providers. Again, my name is Greg Hanna. You can contact us here at TOS by speaking with Tom McGillicott or Greg Halunin at these numbers below. Always feel free to contact Jay or myself at any time. And here's our number, 888-884-TOS, which spells out 8677. That's 888-884-TOS. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for your time.